Austin Rivers take.
So for fans who ain't see it, he was on a McAfee show and made this quote you see here on the screen. I can take 30 players right now in the NBA and throw them in the NFL. You cannot take 30 NFL players and put them in the NBA. JB.
Can we?
Excuse me. What's your thoughts?
It's Compton in the house. Without a doubt. It's Compton in the house. Without a doubt. It's Compton in the house. Without a doubt.
It's time for a JB's Daily Rant. let me tell you that. I got a daily rant to have to say about this. Smitty, Austin Rivers says 30 NFL players could never play in the NBA, but 30 NBA players can play in the NFL today. Let me tell you casual something. First of all, you can't bench 225. None of you. None of you would get off press coverage. Not one of you can play quarterback. And not one of you can catch the ball with pads on over the middle, knowing that you're going to be hit. Not one of you would hit something in B gap, and not one of you would lower your shoulders to get a first down on 4th and inches. So let's dive into the strength portion of my argument. Let's just say 1% of the league can bench 225. Now let's add 10 to 15 pounds of gear onto that body. Not one of you know what it's like to run with that added weight on. Plus, once you add that helmet and gear, your life would change overnight. You would all be a deer in headlights. Secondly, not one of you want the smoke. Let's just talk about the pure mentality of this thing. You don't want the smoke. Pure and simple, you can't play in the NBA with no gear and then still bitch and flop and moan and cry. Imagine being banged at the line of scrimmage, Smitty, blah, 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 and you turn around to the ref like, what's going on? Thirdly, straight line runners, which is the NBA. 99% of the NBA is straight line runners.
Yep.
Let me give you guys that would equate to, let's say, a slash back, slot receiver, running back. Kyrie Irving, he's got wiggle, shake, he can move. I can see Kyrie running a route. John Morant maybe, but he's still he's a little stiffer though. He's still probably straight line. Drew Holiday, shifty guy. Tyrese Maxey, he can go fucking 90 feet, but can he stop on a diamond cut, jump cut, get vertical? You got to think like this. Because, see, I know both sports really well because I've had multiple players play both and translate from one to another. Smitty, not one of your body types are built to run routes. Not one of your body types are built to cover receivers. And not one of you can play in the trenches. Nate Robinson isn't playing it no more. And I've seen guys like Charlie Ward clearly go from football to a fucking 15-year NBA career and a multiple all-star in the NBA. But showed you that we can transition with no issue whatsoever. And let's talk about the outliers. First of all, don't bring up Tony fucking Gonzalez. Tony Gonzalez, who I grew up with, whose older brother was Chris Gonzalez, was my tight end in JUCO, started as football players. Don't get it twisted and act like they were basketball players and came to football. Tony was a football player first. Basketball second, as we all grew up playing hoop in the hood. Tony transitioned with no problem. And by the way, he was an All-American in hoop at Cal and an All-American in football at Cal. Antonio Gates started as a basketball player, was a stiff and a one-dimensional basketball player, and said, you know what? You have a football opportunity. He said, fuck it, I'll try it out. Went on over, NFL Hall of Famer. You know how many football players I know who went to basketball and dominated? And you know how many basketball players I know went to football and dominated? Go look up a guy named T. Higgins. Bailey, if you want to pull him up. T. Higgins, if you watch him play basketball, is almost looks like John Morant. Go watch T. Higgins play hoop. and you already know what he's doing on a football field. How about Allen Iverson, who was an All-American blue chip quarterback? Him and I were both blue chip All-Americans together with Peyton Manning and Brian Griese. That was the 4 quarterbacks in the country in 1993. Your argument, Austin Rivers, coming from a guy who benefited from nepotism by being a mid-player at best and getting a shot because of who your daddy is the real fitting argument I have. So go ahead, Smitty, chime into this. I think people think, and I want to get your take because people think they can just put on pads and go out here. That's T. Higgins, homie. I know about him because my boy coached T. Higgins in hoop. I know my boy coached T. Higgins in hoop. So I know he was a hooper. And he could go right over and play football. No issue whatsoever. By the way, I hit up Matt Barnes and I said, Matt, I know you know Austin Rivers. You got to reach out to Austin Rivers and let this motherfucker know because Matt came up as a football player as well.
Right. And I heard Matt was better in football than he was basketball. Like
he was tight end. My boy Chad was his quarterback. We have a relationship through that. Grant, he played a private school out in Sacramento, but Grant High School was the powerhouse up there. A lot of buddies were mutual friends. Listen, man. Go ahead, Smith. I want to hear your take first because I got more to take.
Yeah, I think I told you yesterday. I said, can we please get this topic in? Because this is one of the dumbest statements I've seen on a large platform in a long time by Austin Rivers. It's just an ignorant comment, and it shows me that this cat either never played football or if he did at a very, very young age, low level, and doesn't understand the difficulty of the sport. I think it's so disrespectful when these basketball players, because he's not the first one to do this. I think Paul George kind of joked about it before. Some other cats have said it. I think it's so disrespectful when you just belittle the NFL by saying your guys could just go over there and play. Again, he's not saying just play football. He's saying the National Football League, the elite of the elites, the half percenters. It's not even a 0.5% make it to the NFL. These cats think that all it takes is for you to be tall and a good athlete, and you can make it to the NFL. Do you know how many cats I've seen in either high school or college who were hoopers or ran track and were phenomenal athletes in those sports come to the football field and look robotic? Because it's a completely different sport and it takes a completely different level of athleticism. It does not always translate, number one. Number two, and you mentioned this as well, JB, it's the mentality. These cats are flopping around on a basketball court, laying on the ground, holding their face after every little poke and scratch and blemish, acting like a fucking sniper has hit them in the back. And you mean to tell me you can go on a football field, line up as a rush in, and go against Trent Williams and pass rush or in running block situation, and you can handle that? Man, get the fuck out of here, man. Listen, most of these basketball cats are soft. Not all of them, but a lot of them are soft. Let's keep it all the way 1,000. And the physicality alone is eliminating more than half of the league. 3/4 of the league, just off physicality alone, could not play and could not translate into football. And then another group of it is because of athleticism. Again, these are great basketball athletes. Basketball athlete does not equal football athlete. Period. Point blank, period. Now, is there a handful of guys, like you mentioned, Matt Barnes? Now, he's not currently playing, but I understand Matt Barnes was a beast at football. But like you just said, he played football first. Football was his main sport. So I don't know if that even counts. Anthony Edwards, I know, was a really good football player. But again, he played football first. So I don't know if that counts. And even when you start naming some of the cats who could play football, it doesn't mean they can play in the NFL. That's a whole nother level. I feel confident that these cats can play college football for sure. But to say that they're guaranteed locked for the NFL is very disrespectful to all the all-time greats, all the Hall of Famers that have played this game of football. I mean, the list goes on and on, but it's just when you say stuff like that, it's like, if I'm Deion Sanders, if I'm Tom Brady, if I'm Peyton Manning, if I'm Warren Sapp, if I'm Ray Lewis, if I'm any of these cats, bro, I'm looking at this comment like, you disrespectful, like what? So JB, you jump in because I got more ammo, but that's where I'm starting at, man.
First of all, look at this guy. You think he played football or would? Number one. Number two, let me ask you something. I just have a straight question to you. Could Max Crosby and Myles Garrett go in the NBA right now and at least get one bucket?
Come on. Yes. Both of them.
Could anyone in the NBA get a sack?
The only person that even comes to mind is a possibility, maybe, but he gonna probably get hurt. It's fucking Zion Williamson, and he probably fuck around and get hurt off 2 plays.
He ain't going against no old tackle and getting that fucking boot bat and go get attacked. See, people don't want to really break this shit down. I know several NFL players that can at least get a bucket in the NBA. I don't know anyone that can go get a sack. I don't know anyone that can stop Max Crosby from getting a sack. And I don't know anybody that can go fucking throw a football in an NFL game or catch one in pads. These guys are straight line players and jumpers, and their bodies are built like crystal fucking Coke bottles. They're long, skinny torsos, wide-shouldered. Look at AD's build. Imagine AD fucking going out there and trying to play receiver. And let me ask you this, Smitty. What player in the NBA? Because LeBron could go up and catch it in high school. What player in the NFL, in the NBA could go on defense in the NFL and play? See, everybody wants to talk about catching the ball and looking pretty. Draymond Green, if you watch him play football, it was fucking horrific.
Show the clip, Bailey, again. Show the clip again, Bailey.
We got Draymond?
We showed it earlier. That was him in Michigan State. This is him in a spring camp going against a guy who's 100 pounds lighter than him, JB. So your most physical, dominating
Look at his
bully.
stance. Look at his fucking
Your most aggressive bully in the NBA is going against a little corner right now, and this is what's happening.
I mean, it's asinine, dog. It's fucking asinine to think that these guys. Why would he even bring that up? And what was McAfee's response? Because I haven't watched it. What is McAfee's response?
McAfee kind of went at him. He did it like in a jokingly way, though.
Of course,
they're basically going back and forth talking about who has a more premier athlete. So they were kind of going back and forth, and NBA is this, the NFL is this. Just my thing is this, bro. You talking about there ain't 30 NFL guys who could play in the NBA? You telling me there ain't 30 Patrick Beverleys? And what I mean by that is there's damn sure 30 NFL guys who can go out there, play physical, play with effort, make an open shot every now and then, and play defense. You tell me Michael Parsons can't go out there and do what Patrick Beverley does? Come on, bro. Stop.
By the way, Russell played a little bit at Lusinger. His brother was really good because I got to coach his brother in 2 All-Star games. His brother was a fucking phenomenal wide receiver. Westbrook, I'm talking about Russell Westbrook. Yeah. The family grew up playing football. The comments are it's just there's too many favorable football players that can go transition to basketball much fucking easier. And these basketball players are playing basketball for a reason. They're not football players. And the guys that go over the Nate Robinsons of the world and certain guys, usually they are 5'10" to 6 foot guard types that can also go play corner or running back or something that's more suited. Once you get to a certain size, Smitty, come on, man. Look at Draymond Green getting hemmed up by a 5'11" corner. Like, a certain size is the actual disadvantage in football for a basketball player. So I'm just telling you.
Again, make this clear. Even the cats like Nate Robinson who were good high school or college football players, they didn't get drafted. They didn't make the NFL. So, there's still we're talking about the NFL. We're not even talking about just, hey, 30 guys can play football. Okay, I would sit back and I would chill with that. Okay, cool. You're saying 30 guys can play in the NFL right now.
It's unbelievable.